back. Yes, I just got done doing a video on repairing a twisted and bent hook from a chain, and during that video there was a repair link in there, and I looked at it and I was like, God, I wonder what's like to make a repair link. So that's what we're going to do right now. There's only one way to learn how to do it. Now, I was thinking that perhaps, you know, they upset it enough and then punched a hole and drifted and that kind of stuff, which I'm sure would work. Let's go ahead and try, though. We're going to bend an eye and weld it, and try forge welding it together, and then get that into an eye that we can then take the rest of this and turn it into a repair link. This is going to be a nice little exercise, something different to do, a little forge welding. Alright, I have no idea exactly how to do this, but I want a nice long scarf for that forge weld to happen. So I'm just going to put a long tapered scarf in here. Hopefully it's the right choice. And then what I'll do is I'll bend that around, and when I do, that'll give me a decent amount of space here to forge weld to. Hopefully not decreasing the thickness of the steel. That's the hope. So let me get this mild 1/2 inch round. The chain that I'm creating this repair link for is also a 1/2 inch round chain. So let's see about rolling that eye. So when in my mind, when I get done, I want the eye that I'm making smaller than a 1/2 inch diameter, so we can go ahead and drift that out. We're going to want this to be a relatively tight fit. When we go to cinch everything together. But we don't want to drift it out so much that we're thinning the steel. So I'm thinking, gosh, a little bit more would have been nice. But perhaps we'll be alright with that for a first try. That forge weld on my way back there, yeah, I think I'm okay. I'm going to heat this up once, hit it with a wire brush, try to get some of that scale off of there before I go in for the forge weld. Alright, just really try to clean the daylights out of in between there if we can. You want to, I am going to throw a little flux on there. Mild steel, technically you don't need flux as much as you would a high carbon steel, but I'm going to throw it in there just because, and then we're just going to close that gap up where I want that forge weld to be. So I'm already thin up here. I'm really not happy. We'll see what we get. It's an experiment. Let's go in for the heat. Alright, it's saying that we're hot enough. We'll do this kind of quick, just on the end. That's enough. And we will heat that up again. I don't feel comfortable about the stick, but maybe it's there. I'll give myself a little more room. If I had made that eye bigger, and then I could forge weld it close to the point that I want, rather than trying to sneak both at once. Maybe. Give it another go. Just trying to get welded. These parts that I want welded. We're going to do this one more time just because that's my technique. I see lines, but I don't know if it's just ridge lines or that I didn't get a good weld. It's been a while since I forged welded anything. Alright, one last time through, just to get everything where I want it to be. And we got to move that eye over into the center a little bit. Once we punch that, we'll see if my forge weld's stuck. I'm not exactly 100% confident at the moment. But one thing I am happy with is that after the weld, we still have about the same diameter, a little thinner, which again, practice, practice, practice. But let's go and see if we can drift that out without ripping that forge weld. I'm going to start with this, I don't know, it's probably something like 3/8, a little smaller than the 1/2 inch, just to get things going where I want them to go. We'll try to steal from one side if we can. Put that in there, start working that around a little bit before we go for the full 1/2 inch. I get that eye centered with a punch in there. I'm a little worried, but let's go and see if we can drift a little bigger now. I swear I had a little 1/2 inch round pump someplace, but I can't find it, so we're going to use this little rod that I just drilled up here. I'm just going to drift it out. Hopefully not tearing the weld too much. Get things where I want them to be. Now this thing will shrink, right? Once she cools down. So we might actually have to go a little bigger than 1/2 inch. But maybe the work that I'm doing here, I'm not exactly proud of that. Fine, but it's a start. Too narrow here. My scarf should have went down a little farther. It's alright. For our first try, I certainly wouldn't chain my elephant out on it. I don't think it would hold. So, knowing that it's pretty ugly, I'm just going to use the horn of the anvil to try to put this round back in. Yeah, that's way too thin, and that's too bad. We know what we did wrong. We won't do that again. See, it's way too thin. But it is what it is. Alright, we're going a little 1/2 inch piece. We want it so that it fits. Alright, relatively snug, but it will cool down and shrink a little bit. God, it's ugly. I'm sorry it's ugly, guys. But it is what it is. For today. First one out of the gate. I'm sure it's going to be handy for something. And we will learn. The sad thing is we probably won't learn. Probably won't do very many of these in our life. Not today anyway. Maybe 20 years from now. I'm just trying to center that eye a little. Hopefully when she cools, we'll have a pretty decent snug fit. And if, again, you can see my mistake. I should have rolled past that. The scarf was up to here and I'm too thin. It's alright. And at this point, I'm almost okay with the size of the hole. Little too big, but I think we'll be okay. I think for this example anyway. Alright, so let's call that part done. Again, if I had just rolled that scarf by, we got a decent weld on there, and I think everybody would have been happy. So I'm just using this chain as an example. So we'll start doing a little bit of the calculations here. And in case you don't know what I'm trying to make, let me go get some. So this is the thing we're trying to make, is this link that's in here. Alright, so there's their eye, a hell of a lot prettier than mine. We'll learn. And if you take a look, that eye comes out straight and then does the bend of the chain, and then this last tab is a 90 basically. Try to get the same, I'll say not semicircle, but a quarter of a circle, and then have that end so it sticks out. So mathematically, what size do we need, all that kind of stuff. This is where going back to the basics. It's probably a project in back to the basics. So we're looking at about a 2-inch, a little less than 2, 1.5 inches on each side. The center diameter is about 1.25 inches. So we'll call that 3 times 3.125 times 1.25 inches. That's center diameter. So that's 3. 4. Sorry, my brain. I'm using my brain, and it takes me a second. According to that, that's 3 inches. Anyways, if that were an inch, it'd be 3 inches. So we'll do 4 inches, 4 inches, plus 3 inches. God, that seems like an awful lot. Now again, this doesn't we're not actually going all the way around. So from the eye, we got 3 inches plus 4 inches is 7, and then we can cut her along and make her work. Another 4 inches, 9. God, let me just think that over. All right. I worked it out. I was being stupid because, 1.5 inches center, when we measure steel for bending, we use the center, right? 1.5 inches diameter will give you 4.7 something inches in circumference. Like, well, I can't believe that's 4 inches from here to here, but my brain was stupid. That's only half, right? So it's only a semicircle there, and then part of a semicircle there. So we got 3 inches of steel for the side, 2.25. We'll call it 2.25 inches for 1/2 of this, and 5 inches extra. So we're going to go 3 inches plus 5, 8 inches. It's where we're going to go ahead and make this happen, I hope. So we can be a little long. Let me just mark. That's 8, and that's 9, and that's all past the eye. So let's go ahead and do some bending. I'm sure my math is stupid, but here for fun. All right, let's see what we can do about getting stuff to move here. So that is 1.5 inches. So 1.5 inches from the eye is where I want that first link to start. So we'll mark that. And we need 2.5 inches from there to finish that. So we'll mark that. And if we bend between those two spots, we should have. We should have a link that's about the size of, where's the little sample thing? Alright, so that one for sure. And again, the eye is going to be past it, right? So we're pretty damn close. Pretty damn close. And of course, that's where we need to bend the eye. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to open that bend up because I'm relatively happy with it so that I have room to bend this eye 90 degrees. And quite honestly, we should be able to figure out the length that we need. Right now, if we were smart, that curve starts here. And a quarter of 2.5 is 1.25. So we're going to need that much steel for the curve. And then we're going to come up 2 inches. No, we're not going to come up an inch. 1.5 inches. Let's say 1 3/4 inches. So 1 3/4 inches. So technically, it doesn't look right. No, because we're going to lose. We're going to lose at least half that distance. So 1.5 inches. We only need about 3/4. So there's our curve. That's the flat that's going to stick out the end. Here's where we're going to nip it off, right there. Which, just to make things easier for me, that is 4.5 inches of total length right now. So right there is where we want to nip it off. Let's get her hot, I guess. Right, because I come here, I measure that. That's the cut I want to make. Yes. We'll get her cut and then we'll get her opened up, see what happens. God, I wish I had made that eye a little better. I'd be proud of this piece. Alright, so again, 4 1/4 from Chandler's crazy calculations is right there. Nip that off carefully. Could have done, Chandler, I'll tell you that much. What I'm going to do, I don't have an extremely aggressive file, but I'm going to throw this in the vise and just kind of file that nub off a little. Let's see if I can get you over there. I'll be back in a second. I didn't have much of an aggressive file. We got a little bit of a spot there. So I'm going to open this back up so that I have room to put this bend in. I want this bend to start right there, right about there. So I'll mark that. Right there is where I want that to start that bend. So that by the time I get it bent, hopefully she'll be somewhere in line with that eye. So we got her hot. I'll go over to the vise, open that up. So we're not bringing you. Alright. And I'm going to straighten that out. A little backwards curve here. Alright. So now we'll flip her around again, go in for that heat. At that point, do a 1/4 turn bend, and the rest coming up straight. That's the plan staying. Alright, let's see what we got going on here. So right there is where I want that bend to be. Hopefully we can get that to happen without too much. It ain't bad. The whole piece is a little hotter than it should be. Plus I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So let's continue that bend. I don't know if I hate it or like it. I don't know if I hate it or like it. I don't like the bend, but it's supposed to be a 1/4 bend. We went a little too far, I think. 1/4 bend, then straight up. Still a little too far. And for some reason, in my mind, when this thing gets bent around, well, it's going to be about, my guess, about a 1/2 inch too long. But it doesn't look horrible. I'd say it's that much too long though. And I hope I didn't go too far. But let's go ahead and see if we can get this thing put together. I guarantee this is not a hard project to do. But it's a complicated one for somebody that hasn't done it before. You can't control it because it's complicated. A lot of angles, a lot of work to do. The way we did it, a little bit of forge welding. But let's see. Let's see what we end up with. You know, obviously this chain has no use to me, so don't worry about me selling it on Etsy. Somebody trying to haul logs out with it. I don't think that's going to be the intention in place. Chances are all those little hooks you see are going to be, God, they don't look too horrible. They don't look too horrible right there, except the only place I really need to be bending is the bottom. The rest should be relatively cool. So let me just get that bottom heated up a little more. I'll be right back. Alright, children, let's see what kind of craziness we're trying to create here. So let's get, this is going to be tricky just with the weight alone. This hook is on. We'll put this chain on. At least we didn't mess up the size. Let's get here someplace and start lining up that hole. It ain't horrible yet. A little awkward to deal with. What I want to do is I want to grab here, use the picture or the edge of the anvil. Picture might be better if I can reach it. I think I went in a little too far. Let's see if I can open it up a little. Oh, hell. It's not pretty, but it ain't totally freaking awful either. Did I close it up too much? Well, of course, now this... Shit, I put them on backwards. Now they won't work. That was dumb. No, yeah, because now I can't get them past each other. I'm going to fix that. No way I'm going to leave this thing where they don't work. So these two chains, it's like trying to get two chains past each other. I put the damn hook on the eye and I put it on first. I should have put it on last. That was stupid, Chandler. Very, very stupid. But we got enough heat. Maybe we can fix it. If you watch the previous video where I would repair the hook on that other chain, I was very careful about what order I put the things back in. And in this case I would. I just did totally opposite. If we just sneak one of these by, find a thin spot in the chain, Chandler. It's alright. It's not a failure of, it's just a failure of intelligence, that's all. Get by, get by, get by, get by. Just a failure of intelligence. But obviously, there we go. Yay! Oh, man, fucking fighting. Sorry, I swore. I'm trying not to swear anymore. All that fighting, and you guys missed it. You missed it, you missed it. But I was able to sneak those shoe links by each other. We'll get this right back along. And unfortunately, my math was a little long, but I'd rather have a little long than short. Let me nip that off. We'll come back and we'll evaluate our repair link for the first time. I'm not totally disappointed. All right, obviously two different size chains. This is the factory-made repair link. This is the one we just kind of hacked together. It doesn't look too, it ain't too shnabby. It's just, right here, the most important thing about the repair link is that the damn thing is strong, right? So right here on mine, where I did the forge weld, if I had just rolled that a little bit more, so we had the full length of steel, full width of steel at the kiss point, and then the taper. What the frick? I lost my brain. If we had the full length of the steel at the kiss point and then the scarf from that point forward, I think we would have a very, very successful wrapped eye anyway, and forged welded eye. I think it'd be pretty strong. What would I pull this thing? I'd pull a lawnmower or something. But I wouldn't pull, I wouldn't be out, like I said, lifting any elephants over my head or anything like that. But we did a project recently where I repaired a bent hook. and I was wondering, how the heck do they make those, and what would it be like? So there we go, our very first, my very first anyway, repair link for a chain. And it, wasn't that crazy. You get used to the dimensions, and it wasn't crazy at all. And it's a good project for a beginner, because you are doing the eye, whichever way you choose. You're doing some dimensions to try to get some type of, what's supposed to be, this link is what I used. So these two are supposed to be at the same size. Of course, I'm off on that, but it's good practice. And I think what blacksmithing is more about, rather than making blades. Even though blades are cool, I know they're cool, but to be able to make the things you need to work. This country's starting to work more. You might need some more new stuff. Too bad those damn machines make things better than we do. Not better, faster and cheaper than we do. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Money Shop, repair link for a chain. Catch you in the next one. Thanks for all your support, really. If you found this video helpful, educational, maybe even if you just found it entertaining, and you want to support me, you can jump back to my channel. There's a button on the right hand side of the screen called support, and it's kind of like a tip jar. You can go ahead and leave a tip for this video, and that'll help me make some more, I guarantee. Thanks for your support, as always.